This is Toothless, my 2001 Honda S2000, and yes, this is exactly what I can see from my POV. Yeah, I should be able to see the rev counter and the speedo, but with my stature and the steering wheel that's smaller, you really can't see anything, except for you can see the trip. See what mileage you're at. So that's good. This is my mountain road car that I take autocrossing, and it's still my muse. I love it immensely. It is not the easiest to get in or out, unfortunately, because of this bucket seat. It's not easy to get in or out of, but once you're in there, you are in there. It hugs you for sure. Some people will still struggle to understand how I can get in and out of this car, but it fits like a glove. It's only because I have the seat in a fixed position that is set just for me, and it's about as low as you can get. There's still some cosmetics issues that I need to fix on this car, but that kind of comes secondary to having fun in the race car. It is important though, but not important as just making it work as well as I can. There's lots and lots of things that are done to this car, and for the most part, it doesn't get driven all that often unless it's going to go racing. And partially that's because there's a lot invested in this, and I'm trying to make sure that it lives a nice long life. I'm trying to balance that with having fun with it and putting some miles on it at least, taken out. It shouldn't just be tucked away and not driven. So, yep. This is Thunderdrum, my 2004 Dodge Ram 1500 Hemi. It's one of my support vehicles. I haven't really towed anything this year, but last year the trip out to Nationals was pretty eventful. Thankfully I was able to get home without the rear end blowing up, but it was definitely knackered from doing that. There were some issues with that. We got it sorted this year though. Rebuilt the rear end, put a Detroit True Track in it, and kept the 456 gears. It definitely helps with towing with that. It's been pretty good to me this year. Haven't done a ton. It's been helping out with projects around the house and taking trash to the dump. It's next up on the list of cars to do undercoating on. We really need to start addressing the rust before it gets worse. Mainly from the front uprights. They're like uncoated steel, so they're heavily rusted now. Need to do some stuff to save it before it gets worse, but it's not too bad. So here's Cloud Jumper, my 2001 Lexus LS 430. It's my more dedicated road trip car for going on highways and whatnot. It's definitely my couch on wheels. So air suspension is still holding up after all these years. I'll probably replace it at some point. It probably due. One of the rear struts is, I think, on its way out. This year I tried to get the driver's seat to not be sticky with the leather. I also tried with the armrest, and I think it's beyond saving, so I need to replace that. But I put this sheepskin cover on the driver's seat. It's definitely not a bad upgrade for being on the road. It helps to not overheat, and it's kind of warm in the winter and cool in the summer. It's kind of best of both worlds. I could definitely see why pilots seem to use those on the airplanes, because this is definitely motivated towards long-term driving comfort. I was able to get the wheel hubcaps on the wheels. I was hoping to get to the mirror that I messed up this year, but I have not done that yet. We'll get to it. One of my old high school classmates rubbed against the quarter panel of this car here. Unfortunately, when I was parked. Maybe that was on me for not giving them enough space to get by, but they were parked in by someone else. Definitely comfortable. So my 06 Cayman S, I haven't done all that much to the car this year. I really just did an oil change and top up the front tires that are been leaking. It gets driven at least once a week. I try and at least rotate the tires and give it some love. It's really my therapist. It gets driven when I want to try and clear my head, think about things. I haven't been the best with keeping it clean this year. I've got to do some aesthetic things, such as clean up the fog or the headlights, which are getting cloudy, and the clear coat is peeling on the front, but it's still in pretty good shape. I've got to do a suspension refresh on it here pretty soon. It definitely needs tires in the rear, but it's fun to drive. It's been retired from going down to Tail of the Dragon and autocrossing until I can do a engine change on it to put in something that's much more or less likely to blow up. But it still gets some use on the Schweinfillet ring. If you don't know what that is, you should look it up. It's a series of good driving roads here in southern Indiana. Okay, so this is Ocean Zap, my 23 Tesla Model 3. It's been relegated to becoming my commuter car instead of just my daily driver. There were several times last winter that I got stuck in situations where the car just wouldn't work for my use case, including just this week. I had a unexpected drive addition to where I was going to, and I didn't have to take the car, but I decided to take the car, and to make the trip without getting too low on the battery, I drove it without the heating on a day where it was 20 degrees. So I could definitely recommend that you want to have more than one car if you have an EV, unless you've got some driving style where you don't really drive it that much or very far. Your mileage may vary. I had issue with the steering rack of this car. They seem to have updated it with a software fix. It's mostly good. I did some racing with the car this year. Put some Koni shocks on it and rear sway bar. Got some 18-inch wheels. Not the correct tire to have, but it did fairly well. I think the idea is that I do some more racing with this car this year and see what happens with it. So this is Barf, my 04 Subaru Forester XT. It's had quite the year. Starting off in last January, I got it stuck because my overconfidence in the snow slid off in a ditch when there's probably 8 or 9 inches of snow. I tried to go on a section of gravel road that wasn't plowed at all, and I slid off at 5 miles an hour trying to make a sharp corner with it not being plowed at all. So that's on me, not on the car. But it does help when I put on better tires this year. That helps with the snow and helps with off-roading, which I'll get to in a second. Inside, I've done some work, re-wrapped the steering wheel, put on a Android head unit, which has been reasonably good, and I put in WRX seats that bolt right in after you change the seat rail. So that was a good upgrade to do. As I said, I got different tires. These were used all-terrain tires. They're slightly bigger than stock, but they do pretty well in the snow and off-road, which I took it down to a place in southern Indiana to go off-roading with some friends. It did rather well, considering that it's not a Jeep or a big four-wheel drive with locking diffs or anything. But it's lightweight, and with some good tires and a little bit of bravery and or stupidity, it does fairly well. I still have a long way to go to make this as capable and reliable as I'd like to get it, but after changing several parts and messing with the transmission, it's a little bit better. But I may end up having to change that. We'll see. I've got lots to do, and I think it will be a good project once it's done, but it's definitely a long-term project. So Barf, my 2000 Acura Integra. I've been bad about this year. I was supposed to try and get it back on the road. It needs brakes and wheel bearings in the rear, as well as a few other things at least. And I'm not 100% sure that it's salvageable, so I haven't really made it a top priority. But it needs to get back on the road. Otherwise, bad things happen for sure. But I've got plans with it for it, but it's not been doing much right now other than just sitting. Yeah, the only thing that I've really done to it was try and make sure that mold wasn't growing inside the interior, because this year's been pretty wicked humid during the spring and summer. So I've been battling that, trying to make sure that it doesn't get any worse sitting here. Here's Shadow Wayne, my 93 BMW 325IS, otherwise known as the Barry BMW in some circles. Unfortunately, I have not yet got concrete in a 2-post lift in the lab yet, so this is still on the back burner. Not yet gotten the engine swapped on it, but it will come in due time. Similarly to Barf, I've been struggling with just making sure that mold doesn't overtake the interior of the car with how humid it's been this year in Indiana. But I will definitely get to it at some point. Okay, golden hour filming for my 2016 Ford Fiesta ST. This is Barry. It's my new, to me, daily driver, because the Teslas had some issues where I had run out of range on some of my typical kind of routes that I would go on. I hate when it does that because my key is in my pocket. So this has been modified mainly by the previous owner. It's got a big turbo intercooler, full exhaust and intake, some KW not KW, Bilstein coilovers, and the 1-inch wider wheels. It's a pretty fun car for a daily. I had a 2019 Fiesta a few years ago and wanted to get back into the platform. These are certainly a ton of fun. They feel like a little front-wheel drive Evo in a lot of ways. It's been a car I'd take down to Tail the Dragon now. It went down and it survived, thankfully. And I'm trying not to race this car. But who knows, I might get another set of wheels and tires for it, have some fun with it. We'll see. Where do I begin with this? This is Hook Fang, my 03 Ford Crown Victoria. It's the butter knife of a car that was given to me to save from a friend after I let him borrow a car after this engine blew up in this car and it left him stranded. I probably shouldn't have agreed to rebuild it and fix it, but it is what it is. It's probably spent too much on it. The long story short, because I could probably spend an hour talking about everything that's been done to the car and fixed, is that the entire drivetrain was fixed and replaced. There's a hole in the side of the engine block, so I pulled that out and put in a used engine from someone that wasn't going to use theirs. The transmission needed to be rebuilt. I replaced the rear end on it, the entire suspension, all control arms and bushings and whatnot, as well as brakes. It was a bit of a project. Main thing that I did main reason why I kept the car or decided to take on this project was I wanted to get some rough and tumble car that could survive going to rally crosses and drive home, particularly one that would be at home with lots of oversteer, sliding the car around at rally crossing. This certainly does the job. It's a bit of a butter knife, but sometimes you want to make toast, and it's kind of at home doing rallycross. And reason why it's so dirty is I just got back from Wisconsin, went up to do some ice racing on a lake up there, so it was quite a winter trout or winter drive, so it's all nice and dirty. This is Meatlug, my 2019 Suzuki SV650X. I just picked up this year because I thought that I'm not getting any younger and I don't do enough dangerous things, so figured this helps me to be a little bit more alive, being closer to death. I mean, granted, it is dangerous. It's not, I think, as dangerous as some people perceive it to be, but it definitely makes you think and question about the capabilities of the average driver on the road. So it's great fun. So, like the name implies, it's a 650. It's definitely fast enough to be fun. Something I can kind of grow into. I was riding the crap out the 250cc bikes, Suzuki bikes that were the instructor bikes that we use for class, for the bait class. This is just great fun. I can really feel and understand why some people think that there's no replacement or nothing quite like a bike. For those that don't know, just pretend you're riding your bicycle at 60 miles an hour on the highway and you've got lots of people that are texting and looking at their Snapchats and whatnot on the road in their 2,000-pound or 2-ton SUVs with very little thought about your life when they're doing that. But it is what it is. Yeah, good fun. We'll see what I can do and modify and have fun with something that's a bit different.